I never know exactly how to begin, whether I should say good morning, good afternoon, good night, happy holidays. We're never quite sure when our little corner is going to be broadcast, but this one is a very important one. When you got Gordy Little taking notes beforehand, you know that this is very important. You may wonder why we're showing you a picture of something that says the Vermont Fire Safety House on it. Well, for very good reason. Hopefully Clinton County will have its own fire safety house by the end of next summer. But in order to introduce this to the North Country, we borrowed one from Burlington, Vermont, and the people over there were kind enough to bring it here. This fire safety house was made by the same folks in Pennsylvania that hope to make the one for Clinton County, and we're going to spend a lot of time today talking about this fire safety house and what it hopes to do, and about a wonderful marriage between the Noon Rotary Club here in Plattsburgh and the Clinton County Firefighters Association. About a month ago, the firefighters came to me and said, would you be interested in helping us? I know you've spent a lot of time during your radio and television and newspaper career talking about firemen and what they do. And I said, I would do anything to help save property and lives that I can possibly do in Clinton County. And when I heard this idea, you know how it is when you hear an idea and it clicks? I said to myself, this has got to be one of the most important things Clinton County can do for itself. Let me give you a brief introduction of what it is, and then we'll be introducing those principles later on as Calvin and I try to keep from getting run over here to the rear of this fire safety trailer. This fire safety trailer will be purchased with funds split right down the middle by the Noon Rotary Club in Plattsburgh and the Clinton County Firefighters Association, led this year by President Kevin Killeen. And next year, the Noon Rotary will be headed by Johnny D., who's the first vice president. Jim Keegan is the second vice president. Hopefully they'll be here with us later today. They developed a letter of purpose signed by both units, the firefighters, headed by Kenny Dumas, who's around here helping to get organized. I see him down there between the trucks. And by the Noon Rotary Club, saying that the Noon Rotary will match dollar for dollar every dollar raised by the Clinton County Firefighters Association to build this fire safety trailer. Now, I had no idea in my mind what a fire safety trailer was until we saw a video. We got together at the Morrisonville Fire Station, had a meeting between the firefighters and the Rotary Club, and watched that 12 or 15 minute video. And the first thing I did was applaud and say, what a wonderful idea. Here we have a trailer with several rooms just like a house that youngsters and senior citizens can look into. We have a special control room with one-way glass and an operator in there who can send non-toxic smoke to any room in this place. It's got bedrooms, it's got a kitchen, I don't know what else it's got in there. And when the little kids are in there crawling around with the firemen on their bellies, there's smoke, non-toxic smoke going through the buildings, through the rooms, and the little kids get to crawl up to a door. And when they get, you remember in your fire safety classes you might have had in school when the fireman came to school to talk to you, he said, always feel the door before you try to get out of your bedroom. Well, this guy in the control room is able to change the temperature of that door. So by the time that little hand reaches up to the door, baby, it's hot. And not enough to burn, but hot enough to tell that child, oh, I can't get out that door. So the little child will go to another place and find an exit route. And you know how important it is to teach kids of an alternate route to get out of their house and where to meet when they get outside. There are a lot of amazing features. I wrote all about them on my notes this morning, but I don't want to tell you all about them now because I want to see Calvin crawl on his belly like a reptile. In this particular fire safety house built by a Scotty organization down in Pennsylvania, there are split levels and most of the interior is rather short, so firemen have to go around on their knees when they instruct the youngsters. The way I understand it, the fire safety house that will be built for Clinton County we'll have one story and people will be able to stand up. So it'll be a little bit different, but the concept is essentially the same. We've never had one of those here in Clinton County. The idea has been around for over 10 years. Firemen knocked the idea around, knew it would be a great idea, and then they tried to build one themselves, and it was extremely complicated, took a great deal of time, and the finished product was not entirely what they expected. So they found out about this company because one of the fire companies in Albany County has not only one of these, but now they're going to get number 2. It's been so successful. How much will it cost? We're not exactly sure, but in the neighborhood, we're going to start at $32,000 and work our way up. Roughly it'll cost $32,000. It may be $35,000 or more before we're finished, and of course enough money has to be raised to sustain this unit on a yearly basis. People will be able to sign up to have it at their school, at their Fireman's Field Day, at the Clinton County Fair, in one of the many parades that take place in the North Country. And the way the firefighters and the Noon Rotary Club look at it, if they can save one life, then the entire cost will be easily compensated for. So we're in the parking lot at Sam's and Walmart in Consumer Square on a beautiful Sunday morning on the 19th day of October, one day after we told ghost stories down at the Kent Lord House. So poor Calvin doesn't get a day off this week. I don't need days off. I just have so much fun doing what we do. So we're going to spend some time today talking with the people involved, taking a look through this wonderful fire safety house and letting you know how important it is when you're called upon to make a contribution to see this thing fly that you do. We'll talk about a big raffle that's ongoing now, and maybe by the time this program airs, we'll even tell you who won the raffle, and maybe it'll be Calvin and me, and we can, who knows, maybe we can buy new microphones for 1998. We'll continue our program with the Fire Safety House in our little corner in just a minute. It's one thing to hear Gordy Little spout out about one of his favorite projects. It's another thing to talk to the people who are really doing the work. And so we're moving over here to the first guy with a mustache, Jim Keegan, who is second vice president for the Noon Rotary Club. Jim, how are you doing?
Just fine, Gordy. Thanks for showing up on a beautiful day.
Who did you bring with you today?
This is Rosemary Sousa-Botten. She's on my committee with Rotary. And this is Bob Perrier with the Clinton County Firefighters Association.
Now, I've already alluded to the fact that we're here for a very important purpose and told people briefly what this fire safety house is all about, but I'd like to know how you got involved with it, Jim.
Well, actually it started when I read a Viewpoint article in the Press Republican, Gordy, where Jim Dinko had kind of thrown down the glove to find some people that would come out and support a project
Jim
like this.
has a way of throwing down the glove.
And I looked at it. I thought it was a good idea. I presented it to our board of directors, and they said, well, look into it. And Rosemary came on board with me, along with Nick Pope, right away. And Bob turned up, and he had all the information for us. And through a series of meetings with the Ways and Means Committee and Rotary, we have decided to go after this.
And Jim's not even going to be president for at least 2 more years. That's the amazing part of it. But the fact is that the hierarchy in Rotary, from Kevin Colleen to Johnny D, are very firmly behind this project.
For the first time in the Rotary's history, 2 presidents are combining their parts of their budget so that we can come up with this money from our fundraisers, so that as the firemen get these donations, why we can match all donations $1 on $1. So if you give $1 to this organization, why Rotary throws in 5 itself. So it's a win-win situation for everybody. And this, Gordy, is going to save lives.
There's no question about it. I've already said at the preface to our remarks here today that if it saves one life, it will have accomplished everything, and certainly will have justified the $32,000 or $35,000.
Absolutely.
Rose, you know, it's not amazing to me, but may be amazing to a few of our viewers across the North Country in Clinton, Essex, and Franklin counties. We were sitting at a community pancake breakfast this morning at the Morrisonville Fire Station after Mass, And what do people talk about? Yeah, the pancakes were good, and oh yeah, they were good. But secondly, this area of the North Country has got to be the most giving part of the country in the world. I've lived in big cities, and I won't name any, where if you had a heart attack and fell on the street, they'd step over you for 45 minutes before somebody would notice that you weren't breathing, and then maybe they'd help you and maybe they wouldn't. Don't you feel terrific every day of your life living in an area like this where people will give something to something like this great cause?
Gordy, you're the prime example of that in the North Country. Yeah, you do. This is a special area. You're not going to find organizations even to work together like they do up here in the North Country. And that's part of what we're looking forward to just as much as purchasing the trailer is our Plattsburgh Rotary Club working with the Clinton County Firefighters Association. It's two great organizations that do a lot in the North Country and provide a lot for people, and we're happy to be teaming up.
I'd like to know where Rotary gets the money to be able to match the dollars with the firefighters one-on-one.
What Rotary does is Rotary has three major fundraisers a year. We have a vacation raffle, which is going on now. We have a radio day that we raise money with, and then our big fishing tournament that we do each June. And we're going to use the money from those three major fundraisers to put towards this project.
We think it may cost around $32,000, but it may go higher, and we'll certainly need money to sustain it year after year.
There's always going to be a need to keep it up. The firefighters are probably better than anybody else as far as handling equipment and keeping equipment up to date and keeping it clean and in prime condition. So we're not concerned about that, but we see this marriage being a long-term project that we'll continue to work together.
That's terrific. Moving a little closer, Bobby. Bob Perrier, how are you?
Good, yourself, Gordy?
I'm doing terrifically good. I saw Kenny talking on WCAX Channel 3 a while ago, but you've been very, very close to this project from the beginning. Why?
Well, about 6 years ago at the Chiefs Conference, we saw the trailer down there, and we came up with the idea of raising the money somehow to help protect the kids, save lives, and also the elderly.
This actually has been an idea around here for 10 years that I know of. People have knocked the idea of having a fire safety trailer. As I mentioned earlier, they even started to build one once, right?
Yeah, we tried it. Unfortunately, we didn't have the materials or the knowledge or the ability to build it light enough, and it got to the point that it was quite heavy. And it'd take a rather good-sized truck and to move it around. It just wasn't feasible for us, so we abandoned the project at that point.
I shouldn't have to tell people, but I'm going to tell them anyway because I want them to know that the main purpose of having a group like the Clinton County Firefighters Association is for fire prevention, fire safety.
That's right. One, you save lives and also save your tax dollars too, and you save money.
Now you are having, let's get all the dollars and cents straight so those viewers who are watching this several weeks after we record it will know precisely what you're trying to do. We've mentioned the cost will be $32,000, it may end up being $35,000 before we're finished. There's already some money in the kitty, right?
The association has held the various fundraisers throughout the years, and we've put some money into it. Of course, we spent some different money at during Fire Prevention Week for fire prevention, also at the Clinton County Fairgrounds during Fair Week. So we've put aside a little over $8,000, and we've started another fundraiser. That's when the Plattsburgh Noon Rotary came on board.
Now, my math isn't that great because I haven't been to school for a long, long time, so Calvin may have to holler out some numbers here, but half of $32,000 is $16,000. You've already raised $8,000. You need at least $8 more, but what the heck? Let's shoot for 20.
Let's go for it.
Because this is a project that'll need to be supported for a long time to come.
Yes, we've got to look at insuring it, getting the vehicle around and also maintaining it, and also the fire prevention materials that are going to be used and handed out to the kids.
Yeah, I never thought of it. Who's going to you'll have to get a volunteer vehicle to tow it, or what are you going to do?
There's a lot of enthusiasm in the association right now to support it, and there's a lot of people who have offered to tow it around and get it back and forth for us. So it looks very good, very promising.
Absolutely terrific. I should mention that there is a raffle underway. tickets are already being sold. Some of the fire departments have already sold every single ticket they were given initially. So we're going to throw 100 more. That'll teach them. We're going to keep them right up to their knees in raffle tickets until they sell them. Now, the raffle tickets are $5 a shot.
Right.
And you're going to have, as a matter, yeah, he's got.
He's ready
He may
for you,
not be the
Gordy.
tallest guy here, but he's holding them up just as high as he can. That's the way those Peru firemen always
Oh,
do.
you betcha.
But the raffle tickets will be sold here, will be sold in various fire departments. Somebody said at one of our last meetings that if every fireman bought one and sold one, it would be done, right, Rose?
The whole thing would be done. And the whole part of this is we kept the raffle tickets at $5. We want to spread this through the community. Everybody in the community is going to benefit from this project. So we're asking everybody just to pitch in a little to help us make it work.
Jim, at our meeting, and I've been to a couple meetings that you've had, including your news conferences and our initial meeting at the fire station in Morrisonville, you showed us a video, very good video. Unfortunately, the company that made the video and the trailers burned down. We laughed about it, but it's a terrible tragedy that it happened, and they lost a lot of their stuff and had to get started again.
They lost their whole inventory, Gordy, and they had to move their whole operation. So we're a little limited on the brochures, and they've changed some of the models. So everybody's in kind of a flux transition, but they're back on their feet and they're going great guns, and we know we'll have a little bit more information coming in every day.
As a matter of fact, we do have a sample behind us, and that's one of the things I mentioned at the meeting. Now that we're in a medium called television that has to attach pictures, we have to show pictures, otherwise the story doesn't make much sense.
That's right.
And I said to you, would it be possible somehow to get one of those here? And you and several of the other people said, we know they have one in Burlington. All of a sudden, I'm getting telephone calls saying, Gordy, it's going to be there Sunday, and you better be there at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Well, you know the North Country Network, Gordy.
Works good, boy.
When you need something, just call a few people, and all of a sudden the word's out. So, and with you being here, this is going to get the word out to everyone in Clinton County, because this is everyone that's going to help. We also, the Firefighters Association also has a couple firehouses in Hemingford. Yes?
Yes.
And St. Albans. So the trailer is going to affect everyone in Clinton County, because it's going to be taken to all the schools, it's going to be taken to fairs, it's going to be taken any place somebody will let us in and put people through it. Because our main objective is the more people we put through this, the more people, the odds are better that we're going to save lives with it.
It's something you've been involved with. How long have you been in firefighting, Bobby?
About 23 years at this time.
Only 7 when he started.
Wishful thinking, Gordy. Wishful thinking.
But this whole idea has got to please you so much. As I said when I started the program, hiding on the other side and trying to keep from getting run over by a backing District 3 fire truck there as we got around the back of the building. It's a tremendous marriage. The fact that these two wonderful organizations can get together for the betterment of the North Country.
It is, Gordy, and it just shows how a community can pull together in support of something as nice as this here and as helpful and useful as what it can be.
I was just figuring, you said you printed 4,000 tickets?
Roughly 4,000 tickets, yes.
Times 5?
Times 5.
You see, I wasn't kidding when I said 20 grand, was I?
That's right. We're going for it. We've got to, set your goals high and aim for them and just go for it.
Rose, what's the timetable here now? I know we're going to have, as a matter of fact, we're going to have the drawing for the raffle right here toward the end of December.
Right, that's December 21st. Yep, the
An intensive
3-day weekend here. We'll be here that weekend, the 19th, 20th, and 21st, selling the raffle tickets. We're going to continue to sell them right up to that point and draw on the 21st. And our goal is that we want to have the money raised by that point in time. And we really think if the North Country loves this project like we do, we can do it.
And yet, if for some reason it didn't work and I don't have a negative bone in my body, the Rotary will be right there to do whatever it takes.
We're still here, Gordy. When we decided to follow this project, we didn't put a timetable on it.
No.
I think having it done by Christmas would be wonderful, but we are just behind this project, and we'll be there until this trailer says Clinton County Firefighters Association and Plattsburgh Noon Rotary.
And if somebody tells us we're selfish, we'll admit we're selfish because we don't want to lose any kids. We don't want to lose any adults or families. Bobby's been in this business for a long time. He and I have both been standing on the scene when people have died in fires and in fiery automobile and vehicle crashes, and it ain't fun, Bob.
No, Gordy, and the worst feeling is, and it's happened a few times, is when you get to pull up on a scene and neighbors say that the kids are still in the building, and you don your air packs and your full gear and you go and search for them, and for some reason you can't find them. Where are they hid? And then you find later on, it's a very good feeling, is that they've gone over to the neighbors for some reason, or a parent had picked them up when they were supposed to have been home. And but it's very sickening to put your gear on and go in and look for them and come back out and find that you haven't found them.
I think the best invention of all time was a smoke detector. I'll never forget when they were first invented. You know, you say, yeah, why didn't we have those cotton picking things 100 years ago? But if people would only remember to keep the batteries in
Change your
there.
batteries. Change your
What's
batteries.
the sign what I saw on a building the other day? Change your clock, change your batteries.
Yeah, that's right.
How many places have you been into, including hotels and motels in other states in the Union, where you walk into your motel room and the door to the smoke detector is hanging down and there's no battery in it, or they're not hardwired, and it makes you feel bad.
Yeah, it is, and people don't realize how fast fire can travel. And when you're sleeping, you're not going to realize that there's a fire going unless you have a smoke detector there to alert you. It's like a silent watchman looking over you.
We're going to take a tour of this fire safety building, and we're going to see Calvin on his knees. Well, it is the Sabbath, so he ought to be on his knees. Jim, I mentioned the word selfish, and I should say selfless, because these organizations and everybody here today to support you are selfless. They're doing these things for somebody else's betterment, and it comes back to all of us. And if we can all give back a little bit to our community, then it makes you feel good at the end of the day.
That's exactly it, Gordy. I can't say anything more than that.
He's in the flower business. I mean, you know, he lets flowers do the talking. But talk about selfless. When this whole thing is purchased, and this beautiful fire safety trailer is constructed down in Pennsylvania by the Scotty organization and sent up here, hopefully by the end of next summer or sometime next summer, you're going to have another ceremony and you're going to give it right back to Clinton County.
Oh yes, we're going to turn the trailer completely over to the Firefighters Association because that's the area that they're best in, taking care of the equipment, doing the educational things with it, and it's basically that's what Rotary's one of its primary objectives is to help the community that it's in.
Part
of its image and its whole logo,
That's
right?
That's part of the image, and the whole logo, service above self, is actually Rotary's, what do you want to call it, title, what we live by, what we go by, how we work. But what we foresee in providing this community is, again, also the relationship, the long-standing relationship that we'll have with the Clinton County Firefighters Association.
It's really a pleasure to be part of this North Country package that we're a part of. The quality of life is something we talk about quite often, and other people outside the area don't quite know what it is. What are you talking about, quality of life? But we know. Rotary Club exemplifies everything that's good. I can't imagine that I haven't joined the Rotary. I was then all very busy doing other things over the years, but it's been so wonderful to attend several of your meetings. I was deeply, profoundly moved when the AM Rotary Club gave me a very high distinction at a banquet a few weeks ago.
It's the very high award for individual community service. It's very unusual, Gordy, for it to be awarded to someone outside the Rotary Club, and they couldn't have picked a better man to give it to.
I should have brought my pin here today.
Yeah,
I had it on one of my other jackets. Bobby, who's going to give us a tour after a bit? Maybe somebody that's with the...
Yes, not sure of the gentleman's name. I'll get him over here and we'll take you in and he'll explain to you.
For a few minutes, and we're also going to go and chat for just a moment with Kenny Dumas and Kevin Killeen. Kenny is the president of the Clinton County Firefighters Association. Kevin is the world's leading Irishman. Beyond that, he is also this year's president of the Noon Rotary Club. We're going to have a great sunshiny day, and there's one thing that bothers me, Bobby, and it bothers me a lot. By the time this program is aired, what if there aren't any more tickets left? What if they're all
We'll find some tickets, Gordy. We'll find some tickets. But you know, if somebody wants to make a donation, they can send it to the Clinton County Firefighters Association in care of at 47 Oak Street in Plattsburgh, which happens to be the Emergency Preparedness Director's office. He's been very kind to let us use that as a drop-off point for mail.
And the zip code in Plattsburgh, of course, is 12901. Our program will continue in just a minute. It's another beautiful day in the neighborhood. Look at that Sunday sunshine, man. We've made the pagers go off just so we could have a few sound effects here in the background, and it's a good thing we don't show everything we do on our little corner, because the last 5 minutes Calvin was trying to unwind the cord. I've only been in this television business a few months, and I get excited about things, Kevin, and when I get excited about things, I hold the mic with one hand and twist the cord with the other one. Next thing I know, Calvin's doing a little dance back there because the cord is wound around his legs. Kevin, Colleen, how are you?
Fantastic. How you doing?
The only time I ever see the guy is when he's cracking the Irish jokes and doing the accent there at the Irishman of the Year breakfast. What's going on at the Y these days?
Everything. We're really busy. It's a great time.
YMCA, we're told some ghost stories yesterday, which would have been the 18th of October down at the Kent Delord House, and yes, we had to mention
Pete?
We had to mention the ghost of Uncle Pete, who I think is the ghost of Uncle Bill, which could be anything. Who knows?
Well, I was just up there yesterday doing some work, and Bob Anthony came by, who used to be the director of the Y.
Man, I want to talk to Bob. Is he in town?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, fine.
He went inside the house to talk to Pete.
Did he really?
Yeah.
So you got to talk to Pete or whoever's up there. It's a great place. We're talking about Camp Jericho, the YMCA day camp, which used to be a beautiful place called Gale Meadows outside of Plattsburgh in the town of Altona. You have been involved with this community for a long time, but a project like this, I talk about twisting this cord. This really makes the juices flow, doesn't it? Getting involved with something like this, Kevin?
Yeah, this is something you can really get your arms around. And Rosemary and Jim, who we've already talked to, have done the majority of the work. I just happen to be the president on the spot while they're doing that. But having this come here so we can actually have a look at it is even better. And we just had a couple of children go through, and it was pretty exciting and easy to see how it's going to be a benefit to the community.
No question about it. This North Country's always been that way. All you got to do is throw out a sign that says we need something, and you got 12 people to help you tack the sign up and put money in your pocket to make it work.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those classic Gordy Little projects that will make it happen, right?
Pleases me to get involved with it. There's no question that it's going to happen. I mean, it's if it's not written in stone, at least we have it in paper. We've got an agreement between your two organizations, and I haven't found one person in this community that isn't willing to throw wholehearted support behind the project. So I think we'll sell those 4,000 raffle tickets.
Well, you know, we have 150 people in our club, and usually any idea has somebody doesn't think it's a good idea with that kind of mixture of people. But I have not heard one negative comment about this project from anybody in our club or anybody in the community, like you say. It's a no-lose situation, and it'll do a lot of great things for our community.
Win-win situation. Kenny?
Good morning,
Boy,
Gordy.
you and I have chatted on fire scenes across the North Country. You've been in the business even longer than Perrier, haven't you?
Something like 40 years.
Oh, man. Something like 40 years.
I started real young.
That's what I told him. He was only 7 when he started, whatever, years ago. You've given a lot back to this North Country with the Firefighters Association and in many other ways, but this idea's got to please you, too.
I'm very pleased with this, Gordy. It's a dream come true. We've been for a number of years trying to get a project like this off the ground, and we even one time started to build our own trailer, but got so cumbersome and everything, we had to forget about it.
I meant to tell people when it wasn't just that it didn't turn out exactly the way they intended it to be, but it weighed 148,000 tons, and there wasn't a Caterpillar big enough to tow it down the road.
Well, the frame was really twisting on it. We couldn't get it hooked up.
I should tell people that it started out with a mobile home frame, right?
That's right. And then we started erecting on it. We took it to the, I believe it was Line Mountain Correctional.
Yeah.
And they worked on it for a while, adding, and then we just outgrew the frame.
this is the way to get it done. Raise the money and let the people who know how to make the thing make it in Pennsylvania and bring it up here, and let Kenny Dumas jump in his truck and tow it wherever they want to go.
Well, we're going to get the trailer, and the next project will be for the pickup.
That'll happen. If we raise $20,000 with these tickets, we might have enough for a down payment on a pickup.
Well, Gordy, we can't just stop at having enough funds for the trailer, because we have to insure it and we have to maintain it. So there will be additional expense year to year. So whatever money we raise beyond the price of the trailer, we will need to maintain it and service it.
You know, the best part of it, Kevin, is this is the first time in a long time that everybody from the president to the first vice president to the second vice president to everybody else in your club is behind this. So, you know, we've got support from the top long after you're not wearing that crown every week at Rotary, right?
I'll be the happiest past president.
You know, it's not as simple as going and having lunch to be in the noon Rotary. You people are involved in so many things. You blow me away every time I go.
Well, we have a few major projects that we work on all the time, and then the ongoing committees and whatnot. It's a lot of work, but all for good causes, I hope. People helping people.
You know, even though today Rotary is at the top of the list of organizations, there are a lot of organizations that people know about, and little clubs and groups, coffee clutches of people to get together, and they knock heads on how they're going to help this community, and that's why it's such a precious area to live in.
It's pretty dynamic, really. I mean, you see, I mentioned our club is a big one. I mean, there are a lot of clubs in the community that are smaller, and they'll probably shoot me for saying so, but I mean, the work I was doing at Camp Jericho yesterday was a building that Kiwanis is putting up in conjunction with us as well at the YMCA. So, and that's another, $20,000, $30,000 project that's coming from this community to help children.
How many children has it helped already over the years? Think about that.
Yeah, 30 something years, and actually they built the lake, which is up there too, which is even mind-boggling at this point. But I better get off this Kiwanis. If you're the president of Rotary, you're not supposed to be bragging on Kiwanis around town.
We brag on anybody that'll do a little good in our community. Who's this guy standing next to you over here?
Gordy, this is my friend Dick Baldwin from the state of Vermont. He's the assistant fire marshal, and he heard Jack LeDuc. I got to get a plug in for Jack.
You got to give a shot for Jack.
He heard Jack on TV that we were starting a fundraiser with the Rotary, and he called me and asked me what they could do to assist. And he generously donated his time today to bring this trailer over here so that we could have this news conference.
Dick, good to meet you.
Nice to meet you, sir.
You know, it isn't only New York State and Clinton County that likes to do fire prevention. They like to do that on the other side of the lake too.
Oh yes, very proud of our fire prevention programs that we have over there, and this trailer has only added to it. And we've had it for 3 years. It goes up and down the state like a yo-yo most of the time. Day before yesterday, it was over in Waterford, above St. Johnsbury, and yesterday it was in St. Albans. So we went from one end of the state to the other, or one side of the state to the other. And when we heard that Ken in his area up here were going to try to get one, we said, well, gee, maybe if we took ours over and showed it around and showed it off a little bit, it would help, generate the funds needed to buy one of these. So we're only just too happy to be here today. It's the old saying, the friends across the river, hands across the river. So if we can help Kenny, hey, we're glad to do it.
We're so glad you stopped by, and we'll get a tour. We'll get all of us on our knees in there in just a few minutes. But it's nice to be a part of a whole project like this, Kenny, and to know, as we've said 1,000 times before, that maybe some youngster will learn something in school when that artificial smoke goes through here, and something may happen, God forbid, in his own home, but it'll get him out alive, and we'll have accomplished something here, huh?
Yes, if we can only save at least one life, it'll all be worth it. Like Dick was saying, in the state of Vermont, in the last 60 days, the trailer has been showed somewhere something like 50 days out of the 60. So
that's amazing.
You can see the area that they have covered, and if you take in the daytime, I don't know how many kids they can put through it, but the number of children that they have put through in the last 2 months, it's really worth it, Gordy.
We're going to have a sign-up list for our trailer when we get it. We're going to have we'll be fighting them off. There'll be 10 people that want it on a given day.
Because if we can educate the young kids, they'll help us educate their parents and have fire safety in homes, because they don't forget when they go home. They're not afraid to say, Mommy, Daddy, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that. And that'll be one of our biggest benefits.
That's wonderful. Something else I should mention that we haven't even brought up yet, and that's the wide-ranging influence of the Clinton County mutual aid system. I noticed at a couple of our meetings we had people from even from southern Quebec with us, because we accommodate them in our system, don't we?
Yes, we have 28 departments in the Clinton County mutual aid system. There's 22 in New York, I believe. There's 4 in Canada, and there was 2 from Vermont. We also have the correctional department in Denmark.
I've said it so many times, you know, and in a lot of ways, Kevin, people still try to maintain that Lake Champlain as a barrier between the two states. But as Dick says, if we can reach our long arms out there and shake hands with the folks across the lake, I think we'll both be better off for it.
Yeah, you know, God forbid we should save a life in somebody else's state.
Yeah,
right?
Isn't that amazing? This is
Another country for no matter. Right?
This is a wonderful day today, and forever, once we get our fire safety trailer here, the name Noon Kiwanis and Clinton County Firefighter.
Rotary. See, I got John Kiwanis.
You started it, Kevin. The Noon Rotary and the Clinton County Firefighters Association will be on all the literature. It'll be on the side of the trailer. It'll let people know who started this whole thing in the first place. We have a banner which somebody was kind enough to make for us that we showed at one of our news conferences, and it mentions the Clinton County Firefighters and the Plattsburgh Noon Rotary. As I said before, this is a good marriage, and I hope it lasts for a long time.
Great, thank you. We, if you think about this, this is not only a project that once we're anxious to get it here, but can it probably be, these things survive 20 years or more, right? So, I mean, it's going to do a lot of good for a lot of people for a long time.
That's terrific. Well, we're going to get inside this wonderful fire safety house from the state of Vermont and have a look around in just a few moments. And as promised, we've stepped inside the fire safety house. Dick, explain what our viewers might be looking at here.
Okay, this is set up similar to the average home. We have a kitchen, and in front of me is the stairs going up to the upstairs bedroom, and underneath the bedroom is a living room with a fireplace. And what we've done is we have set up several hazards throughout the trailer or throughout our home, and we bring the children in groups and run them through. And as you can see behind you here, we have the kitchen range, and we have pot holders right on the stove. The pot was full of water, maybe with a handle out. You know, some child could reach up and grab that and get very severely scalded. The fire extinguisher is behind the stove. You know, not where it should be. If you had a fire, you'd have to reach through the fire to get to the extinguisher. And we tell them, you know, that extinguishers should be near a door, an outside door. That way you have a way to get out, even if you don't put the fire out. And, you know, we've got a microwave, the sink, and our coffee pot with the cord hanging in the sink.
In the sink, oh yeah.
And basically, you know, we've set up hazards. We bring the children in, and we have them explain the hazards to us or point out the hazards. And it's amazing how quick that they pick up on, you know, the things like the cord in the sink, and the pot handle, and the pot holders on the stove. And of course the toys on the stairs.
Calvin noticed that right away.
Yeah,
Never should leave the toys on the stairs.
I was proud that he, you know, he picked that right up, you know. Somewhere, we got to believe it was a child told him that, because adults, you know.
He's raised kids as I have, and a lot of times there's toys on the stairs, as a matter of fact. And
well, it's a proven fact, you know. You take people our age, we formed our bad habits, and unless somebody tells us about them, and it's usually got to be a little one, that tells us, you know, Daddy, you shouldn't put your toys on the stairs. You know, they're going to stay there.
You're going to think about that. I think back to 1975, and it was our kids that convinced my wife and I to stop smoking. They learned in school that smoking was bad, and that maybe your parents and grandparents won't be around if they smoke too many cigarettes. So I learned first, and Nick Pope learned after me.
Well, I had a case in the southern part of the state. I was talking to a group of third graders, and I asked them, this was 3 years ago, and I asked them if all the children had smoke detectors. And there was one little girl raised her hand and said she didn't have one. And so I said, listen, you know, we want to make sure you're safe. So when you go home tonight, you talk to Mom and Daddy about getting a smoke detector. And don't you stop until I get one. And you tell them the fire marshal said that you should have them, you know.
I love it.
You know, I said, well, put the blame on me, you know.
Yeah, sure.
Because, you know, the father's going to say, yeah, go out of me with that, I don't need one. Well, it took her 2 weeks to talk Dad into getting a smoke detector. And 10 days after they put the smoke detector up, they had a fire.
Oh, man.
And Dad said if it hadn't been for the smoke detector to wake them up in the middle of the night, 5 people would have perished in that fire. So there was a
You
save.
couldn't write a better story than that.
No. You know, there's a save right there that, you know, we're real proud of that. So
Nick Pope, sneak around Calvin there. People going to wonder in our viewing audience why the heck I said Nick Pope quit smoking. I know how much of a battle that was for
12
you.
years ago now. And,
12 years.
yeah. And I was a 3 to a 4 pack a day smoker.
3.5 for me, too.
What I want to say as a Rotarian, being involved in this project here, to thank the Vermont fire marshal for his interest and help. And, you know, he called up the minute he heard we were trying to do this, and boy, he said, I'll be over there and I'll bring it over to show the people, and you can't ask for any support better than that. That's great, and thank you very much for what you're doing for us here.
Wonderful cooperation between the Rotary Club and the Firefighters Association. I know you've been involved in this right from the beginning. Isn't it great to see something like this coming together?
You know, that was, I think, one of my best interests. Jimmy Keegan, a good friend of mine, Rotarian, came to me and he said, what do you think about the project? And I, of course, thought the idea of the fire safety house was excellent, but I also thought what a great way to get together with an organization that does so much for Clinton County, like the Clinton County Firefighters Association. And I said it'll be great for Rotary, which we like to think of as one of the great service clubs in this community, getting together with, you know, the 1,200 firemen and their families of this county who work day in and day out for this community. I mean, you know, one week it's Newton Welding's fire, the next week it's a school. I understand there's a big fire right down in the other side of the county now going on a few minutes ago, I understand. So they're going around the clock, you know, and so when we found out they wanted this, a few of us in Rotary said, well, I think we can make it happen if we get together. So let's get together with them, and that's what we've done. And we need the public's help, and I'm asking everybody in Clinton County,
He's good at this.
buy it, buy a ticket from the firemen. Their wives or their husbands, whoever's selling them, a Rotarian will sell you them. Please buy some tickets so that by maybe spring we can see our fire safety house here in Clinton County.
I think that's wonderful. Nicholas, thanks so much for
Thank
that
you,
pitch.
Gordy.
It's important.
I'm going to take a little look around. I guess I can go up and down.
Yeah, good.
And then I'm
You
gonna,
step over the
sneak
cord.
out of here.
I know you can still step that high. He's old, but he can do it.
we can all go upstairs. Sure.
All right, let's follow Calvin. Yeah, don't fall on the toys. Okay, here's where we get to kneel.
On your hands and knees up here.
Here's where we get to kneel. This is pretty funny all by itself. All right. I should remind our viewers, as Calvin tries to get through the door with the camera, that the fire safety house that Clinton County will have made will be a little bit different from this one, Dick, right?
Well, I'm not sure what they're toying with this idea.
Yeah.
The reason that I like the second floor is that probably 75% of the children that I talk to sleep upstairs, and they have to learn that they've got to have another way out, whether it's a window or a door going onto a balcony, or maybe another set of stairs. So we teach them, you know, 2 ways out of the bedroom here. The door back there is a heated door and has an element in it, and we smoke this up, and I'll smoke it up for you in a minute. And we teach them to crawl low and smoke, Get down low, feel of the door. Is it hot? Yes. We got to go to a second means of egress. And we also put some hazards up here. We got a smoke detector up here, and it doesn't have a battery in it. So, you know, without a battery, what good's a smoke detector? We have an ashtray here full of matches and an old cigarette.
On the bed, I'll show that to the camera.
And well, we do have a flashlight, but
oh no,
gosh, no batteries in the flashlight. You know. So, and what we got here? Oh, we've got an extension cord underneath the carpet here. You know, things that people do, and these are not things that are uncommon. In my business, you know, going into homes and doing inspections, I find these things every day. You know, the cords are, you know, underneath the carpet. They've stretched the cord through a door. It's frayed. I took hold of a door sill one time and almost got knocked on my can because the cord was frayed and it had charged the whole door frame, metal frame. So these are things that the children are going to find in their own homes. And so we get them up here and we talk to them about everything, and then we use the smoker, and I'll smoke it up pretty good. Okay. And it's a theatrical fog that they use in this, and it isn't harmful to anybody, but the only thing we do is when we get a group of kids here, I always ask them, and the fire departments that use this ask them, if any child has asthma, we'd rather they didn't come in because it can upset them as far as asthma. But we got a smoke generator that we can smoke up any or all of the trailer, and it gives the kids an idea of what smoke is really like. And in a minute you won't be able to see us in here because we're going to be involved in smoke, and I can't see you. Can you see me?
Nope, not a bit.
Well, that's the way it is in a real fire. The only difference is that in a real fire you would have temperatures upwards toward 1800 degrees, and one breath of that smoke and you're not going to make it. You're going to barbecue your lungs very quickly.
I guess that's where more people die from the smoke.
Almost all of the fire deaths that occur in a home are people are asphyxiated by the smoke, and you know, the superheated gases and smoke. It's still pretty smoky in here, isn't it, Gordy?
It takes a while to get it out.
Yeah.
So what would you do if you had kids up here and you were blowing their smoke?
The first thing I'd do is, you know, if we had someone on the little bed here, they'd get down on the floor, they'd crawl toward the door and feel the door, and it's going to be warm to them. So then they've got to go to our second means of egress, which is our balcony and the stairs down. And
you've done this before.
Yeah, I've been through this a couple times. So, but we have fans here to evacuate the smoke out, and we got some little people coming up behind him there.
Just to check it out.
Yeah.
Calvin decided on a special way to hold the camera before to watch us in here.
We're good. That way he doesn't have to crawl in here.
But the little kids, the younger you can get them, I guess at age 5 is probably a good age.
Yep. Even we've had preschool children in here, and it's amazing how much they have learned from. Well, Sesame Street is an excellent program. They do a lot on fire safety, but they're getting a lot of it. And the thing that I've noticed, that I've been doing fire safety in schools for about 12 years, and the 5-year-old today is a lot more knowledgeable about fire safety than the 5-year-old 5 years ago. If you can understand the concept there.
I certainly do.
They
the
are.
more we do, the more we'll have doing it.
Well, when you figure that, you know, over 6,000 people succumb to fire every year in this country, and 3 times that many are injured in fires, we got to start doing something. And you know, with the Rotary Club's help over here, and maybe showing this trailer off, you know, it's going to give somebody a boost in the arm to help out Clinton County firefighters.
Modern electronic television cameras are not completely unlike smoke detectors. Without fully charged batteries, sometimes they don't work. So right at the end of our description up there in the little bedroom on the second floor. Our battery died, but Calvin's always got a spare in his pocket, and he's got one down here. So we're back down on the first level. Dick, what do we got inside this little door?
Well, this is the guts to the operation here. This is where all the controls are. The control you can see in there for the door. The temperature now is up to 141. And we have a TV set in here that we can plug in and drop the door outdoors, so we can show movies, fire safety films to children waiting to go through this. And our smoke generator is in here, and all of our controls for the door, the smoke detectors and the lights and everything. So this is the heart of the operation here.
And I guess in some of the trailers they even have telephones so the kids can dial 911.
Yeah, we have a telephone in here and a telephone jack outside, and they dial a number and we answer it in there. And the problem is, and it's the same everywhere, it's hard to be able to get enough people to operate this when you figure that in our state, in Vermont, there's about 152 fire departments, 150, and 12 of those are paid fire departments. The rest of them are volunteer. The other day I worked with 6 firefighters, all of them volunteer firefighters, and they had all taken the day off from work to work this trailer. It's just amazing, and it's the same way over here. These guys are all volunteers, majority of them. And, they put their heart and soul into fire departments. And, gosh, if we can do anything to help them, we're there to help them.
The best part of it is their wives and their kids will support them when they're out doing something, and their husbands, because very often we have female firefighters on both sides.
Oh, yes.
But it becomes a family affair and a community affair, and that's good. It's to everybody's betterment,
Oh, yes. And this is what it's all about. It's these little guys right here, So.
How are you?
Fine.
I know who you are, but tell me who you are.
Patrick.
Patrick what?
Whalen.
I knew that. Patrick, you look like a fire chief. You think maybe you might be a fireman when you grow up someday?
Yes.
You just never know. He's one of the few people around here that wouldn't hit his head on anything going through the doors.
Well, there is some...
I know who that is. Who's that little girl right there, Patrick?
Susan.
Hi, Susie Whalen. How are you?
Hi, Gordy.
Hi, Annie Whalen. How are you?
I'm good. I've got a
Wait a
wicked
minute.
cold.
Who's this guy back here?
Matt, hello.
Hey, Matt, what's cooking?
Nothing.
The whole cotton picking Whalen family is here. This is a terrific place. What are we going to see next, Dick?
Well, we're going to move into the living room here, and again, it's a head knocker, so you keep low.
We'll do that, and we'll be right back in just a second. And we're in the living room, Dick. What do we got?
Well, you remember I told you about the bad extension cords?
Oh, I sure do.
This is one we took out of a house.
Oh,
and
man.
we had an enterprising electrician.
That's good electrical tape there.
Well, he wasn't licensed. Let's put it that way.
Oh man!
But that's something that we show the kids. Outlets with cube plugs in them, and of course we have the fireplace here. Let me back up just a little here, and we have a fire in our fireplace. And of course the screen is off, matches right beside the fireplace, newspapers, a mitten over here drying, and we just go there. Behind you up there is another smoke detector without a battery.
No battery. I see it.
The people that live in this place are klutzes, and we're trying to teach them to be better citizens.
Charlie and Charlene Klutz. Yeah, I know.
And of course we have our second means of escape through here and out the door. And if you want to stay here for just a minute, what I'll do is I'll run around to the control room and show you how we can smoke this room up too.
You go and do it, and I'll just chat a little bit about this organization because it's a project that's... Yeah, I guess I had to explain why Calvin cut me off. He heard Dick say anybody with asthma stay away from the smoke, so Calvin backed up down the hallway a little bit, and guess who he left right in the middle of it? Pretty soon I'm not even going to be able to see that little red light, but any of those any of those problems or those hazards that we found out about up in the bedroom or down here in the living room could cause a serious problem. We can see a tiny light on the wall. We have enough windows with sunshine coming in so I can see enough. But it points out to me, and should point out to you and your family, how important it is maybe to have the kids crawl around down on their hands and knees and know how what the lay of the land is like in their bedrooms, along with that alternate escape route, to know what the walls feel like. You know, in airplanes, when you take a trip, they tell you how the aisles are lighted. Very good reason for that. You may be down on your hands and knees trying to find your way out in very dense smoke. Little by little, this room is clearing out, and you can see that Calvin's still making it, and I'm still making it. He's still a little foggy down there at the other end, but I think, in the process of this program, you will easily be able to determine what a valuable fire safety tool this fire safety house is. He told you how in the state of Vermont it's used almost on a daily basis. Sometimes 2 or 3 events are utilizing the trailer every day. Here in New York State, I'm sure it will be no different. Every organization, large or small, will want to have the trailer parked on their lot at one time or another, and I would think that would be the bottom line. If we can get the information, the valuable fire safety, life-saving information from this fire safety house into the brains of every young person, every middle-aged person, all the Jim Keegans all over the North Country, and the senior citizens like me, then I think we'll have a heads up and a possibility of saving a few lives over the coming years. One more tool to make this North Country a better place to live. There's humor in every situation, you know, and I always have to tell everything, you know me, blabbermouth. He says in Vermont, when we first got this, it was a big fight as to who was going to get it to use it for deer season. Boy, it is deer season.
It's getting close.
I saw him shooting moose on your side of the lake over there.
Yeah, they got a few, I guess.
I want to thank you so much for bringing this unit over here today to give our viewers and everybody else here a first-hand view about this fire safety trailer. I'm even hooked more than I was when we started.
Well, I'm glad. And, you know, it just, like I said before, a hands across the river type of thing, and we're only too happy to bring it over here. And, you know, I sure hope that you guys get one, because if anybody needs it, firefighters need it to help. They need a little boost in the arm too, you know.
If ever there were a foregone conclusion, it's the fact that we're going to have a fire safety trailer. We already decided. When the few of us here decide, baby, get out of the way, we're a steamroller.
Hey, that's the way to go. And, you know, I'm going to go over here and buy a ticket because, gosh, I guess I can help a little too, you know.
See how it works? Thanks so much, Dick, for having us. What do you think, huh?
Well,
pretty good day.
It's a wonderful day. The weather's fine. The crowd's turning out. The firemen have engines here. It's and the more I see the house, the more I think this project is so wonderful and worthwhile.
You know, Kevin, they say out of the mouths of babes. I watched the little kids going through there as we were filming, and the smoke came out, and there a lot of woos and oohs and wows, and one little guy with his fire chief hat on. I'm going to be a fireman. I'm going to be a fireman.
Well, we're always motivated by helping children, and I'm sure they explained earlier that, you know, also senior citizens on the other end of the spectrum need to be thinking about those kind of things, and we all do. And it's like Kenny said, the kids will go home and tell their parents and correct them on things they may not be doing, or hold a little fire drill in the house or whatever they're doing, and it'll be well worth it.
Jim, let's just give the people the timetable again. We're going to try to run this program, Calvin tells me, around Halloween, maybe again later, but we're in the process of trying to buy a fire safety trailer involving 2 wonderful organizations, the Noon Rotary and the Clayton County Firefighters Association. The Rotary's going to match the firefighters dollar for dollar to a tune of at least $32,000 and perhaps more, whatever it takes.
That's right.
And we're in the process of selling raffle tickets. Hopefully they're going like those hotcakes did at the Morrisonville Fire Station this morning. But firefighters and Rotarians will be here at Walmart and the Consumer Plaza, I understand, toward the 3 days toward the latter part of December, 19th, 20th, and 21st. And the thing will culminate with a huge celebration, I'm sure.
Oh, there'll be a celebration, Gordy, when the trailer's here. And we might even let you know, Gordy, because we hear you've coughed one or two in your day yourself.
Oh, boy. We still haven't absolutely settled on the final design, have we, or have we?
No, we haven't. For the Vermont to bring this over for us, to let us see it firsthand, we're in there, we're making notes on what we want, and they're a huge help to talk to us. They've had this trailer for 3 years, so they know the pluses and minuses of the design that they ordered. And this has been a huge help for just us to be able to see it, to say nothing about letting the children come through it
I saw
today.
Rose coming in with her pad and pencil, and I thought she was taking lunch orders. I told her 3 Big Macs and a Coke.
Well, no one can read my writing, so she's kind of helping me out a lot.
Well, thank you so much for being here today and for allowing Calvin and me and our little corner program for being a part of this wonderful project.
Well, it's a huge help, Gordy, too. This project is so nice that all we have to do is let the public out there know about it, and I'm sure they'll be here for us, and you'll be a major help in that direction.
And Kevin, if you need any help for next year, I know a good joke about 2 Irish farmers.
Good. I'm always looking for
And the
material.
potato. Join us again next time. Who knows what we're going to be doing on our little corner.
Boys and girls, that sounds like an old pig snoring. I think you ought to wake her up. On the count of 3, let's everybody yell, please wake up for Hilda. 1, 2, 3. A little louder if she didn't hear that.